So right now, what I'm showing you is Franklin's first bedroom. This is the very first safe house you get access to in the game. And what we have tucked away here in the corner is something that we've been looking at. So for those of you who didn't think Austin Powers has got anything to do with anything, there you go. Physical clue. We're going to be looking at a very big reference point that GTA 5 focused on, that being the film Heat from 1995.
This brilliant mission, Blitz Play, sees all three of our heroes robbing an armored truck by blocking its route and knocking it on its side using their own truck. This mission's a clear reference to the truck robbery from Heat, wherein the exact same scenario plays out.
Al Pacino also featured in Dick Tracy. Now, Dick Tracy is a relevant clue that has been talked about through Wispy Woods and a little bit through me. We will get into deeper reasons into the future as to why Dick Tracy is important other than being just a detective. Alright, so here we are, just basically on the other side of the bank, and we have the bar here, Willie's. Now,
you guys have to start asking yourself,
is there any particular reason why we keep bringing up William or Will?
All these Willie references or Dick references.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Ninsky. So for the last 3-4 weeks, I've sort of just been sitting back and watching the community go crazy over the whole Red Dead Spiderweb thing that's been popping up. And kudos to the community for actually stumbling across this. And I want to put it out there that this is not going to be a video discarding anything that anyone's found. It's just going to be my take on certain things that people have found within this, but my take on it. And yeah, we'll just sort of wing it as we go. So I'll just say now that the things I talk about in this video may or may not bring relevance to what people are looking for, but that being said, I have found something that's worth talking about. So first thing I want to talk about is the spiderweb that we found in GTA 5 underneath the Mount Chiliad mural. This is the cable car platform, and the mural is right here. So a lot of people still believe this to be unsolved, which in many cases it is, but it is noteworthy to take note that where we had one mystery in one game, now we're having a second mystery appear in the second game, but they gave us this clue. Was this to allude that this was what we were meant to be looking for in their next game? Let me just explain what I mean by this. And I'm not forgetting the fact that this spiderweb was tied to the one underneath the dock. So I'm not saying that I know what this is about. However, it's just interesting that the same web has appeared in the next game. Okay, so again, did Rockstar place this here not for us to figure anything out to do in GTA 5, but to keep an eye out for it in Red Dead Redemption 2. I also do want to point out that the main spiderweb that shows up in the middle of all the other spiderweb connections, it shows up at the time of 1 to 2 a.m., which is exactly the same time that this spiderweb showed up underneath the Mount Chiliad mural. That's pretty interesting. I also want to say this as well, and again, this is not to debunk anything about the physicalities of what people are trying to figure out, okay? I'm not saying that this isn't what Rockstar wanted you guys to find. I just think it's interesting that they're fucking birds, okay? And who was talking about birds since day motherfucking one? Now, about this so-called question mark. Yes, possibly. It could also be a hook, okay? Again, guys, think duality. Don't just think one track. But if we were to take it as a question mark, I find that to be quite clever, because a question mark can also be seen as a riddle, coming directly from someone such as the Riddler, who has been brought up. But a question mark or a mark, All right, so the next clue that the community found was this clue here after following the whole web pattern. And what I found interesting to me, when I saw this for the very first time, I didn't think of NW as a direction. I thought of it as initials. So I started thinking about guitarist with the initials NW, and very quickly I didn't really find a connection. But it wasn't until I realized that we need to use the tools that were given to us in the past to be able to figure out the future. That being said, we as a people have constantly got things backwards. So if we go back to the initials and we do them backwards, very quickly I found a very strong connection, and that being
Willie Nelson,
the American guitarist. Now, if you think that this is too far-fetched, I need you guys to realize and understand that it is important to not just disregard information straight away because you don't understand the connection yourself. What I'm explaining to you is you need to have a little bit of faith when you find things like this and allow your research to make the connection solid for you. And what I mean by this is that the song Cruel Cruel World featured in this very same video game, Red Dead Redemption 2, was performed by Willie Nelson. So now that we can take Willie Nelson a little bit more seriously, we can have a look at his filmography, and a few things are going to start to stand out. One being the Dukes of Hazzard, where we have a Great Scott as one of the main actors, but also Duke. We had the Duke of Death given to us in GTA 5. He's also done a 1986 film called Red-Headed Stranger. Redhead being of the Epsilon and Stranger being of Strangers and Freaks. He's also done Half-Baked with Dave Chappelle. And he's also done Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, the very same Austin Powers movie that I brought up in a previous video. But now we're going to take it even further, and we're going to look at a film called Thief that he was in. with James Caan being the main actor. Now, Thief is a pretty cool film, mainly because of its sort of aesthetic and its feel, but what ties it back to things that we've talked about before being that it is a neo-noir heist action thriller film written by Michael Mann. This is the same director that did Heat. Okay, we talked about Heat not very long ago, but going back to James Caan, I mean, we can dig into this man's filmography and we can tie it back to films like Way of the Gun, and those films being pointed out by Wispy in the past. But let's look at things like Dick Tracy and understand that he played a character within this film, Spaldoni, sorry. But nonetheless, Dick Tracy, this is a clue that has been popping up time and time and time again. Now today, I'm going to show you one of the reasons it has been popping up time and time again. And that is because of the man who played Dick Tracy, Warren Beatty. Now, Warren Beatty was also known as Clyde from the film Bonnie and Clyde, tying us right back into the exact same motif that we're going to be having within GTA 6. So, I'm not saying that this is the answer to this. All I'm doing is shedding a little bit more light as to what this could mean within a duality. I hope you enjoyed. Spread the truth.